Did you know that anytime you have to miss an important event because you randomly and inconveniently got sick, you are communing with Plato across the millennia? And the reason this is relevant to me today is that I both sound and feel like I've swallowed a hive of bees. But the reason that whenever this happens to you, you are in communion with Plato is that, according to his dialogue, the Phaedo, on the day of Socrates' execution, Plato didn't go. He wasn't there because he was sick. Plato, the narrator of the dialogue, lists all the people who were present that day, and then at the very end he says, but Plato, I think, was sick. And what's even crazier is this is the only place in everything he wrote that Plato mentions himself, and is to say that he wasn't there on the day of Socrates completing his work as a philosopher, which, as he says in the dialogue, is dying and having his soul be separated from his body and going on to live its immortal glory and learn from the wise souls of other people who've died and all that stuff. And what's really interesting about the ancient Greek word for sick used in this place is the word is astheneo, which literally means to be weak or to be not strong. If you look at names like Demosthenes or Cleisthenes, that thenos at the end means strength. And then when you do the alpha privative, which is where the prefix alpha negates the word, you have asthenos, which means literally not strong. So taken super, super literally, when it says Plato was sick, Plato was not strong. Plato was too weak to go to the execution of his teacher and friend that he loved more than anything. Obviously, there is debate about whether or not Plato actually did go, because it's like, how sick would you actually have to be to miss that? It's a literary device, like why? And some people think it has to do with the end of the dialogue where Socrates, the last thing he says is to sacrifice a rooster to Asclepius, the god of medicine. You think it might have something to do with that? Gosh, how sick would he have had to be to not go? It's just such an important thing to miss. So tell me what you think. Do you think Plato's actually too sick to go? Did he just totally invent everything he talks about in the Phaedo? Actually just talked about sports or something in the prison cell on his last day? Why else do you think he would have said that? And then what did I miss out on today with my hive of bees and all? Well, I wanted to go in the sunlight. I wanted to go to the gym. Not quite as important as the last day on earth of my best friend and teacher, but still. And if you like the gravelly thing in my throat that I have going on, follow to be reminded to think about Socrates every day. Because remember, you should be thinking about Socrates every day.